Okay, so the WBO organization is shooing in Oleksandr Usyk as the mandatory for the winner of Andy Ruiz Anthony Joshua matchup. It goes on to say that the World Boxing Organization has issued an official ruling pursuant to a petition filed by attorney John Hornewer to name Oleksandr Usyk as the mandatory challenger in the heavyweight division. The current WBO heavyweight champion is Andy Ruiz, who also holds the WBA, the IBO, and the IBF world titles. Ruiz captured the belts June 1st with a seventh round stoppage of Anthony Joshua in a shocking upset at Madison Square Garden in New York City. A rematch is contracted between Joshua and Ruiz, with the second fight scheduled to take place before the year is over. He withdrew with an injury, and the heavyweight debut is salted to take place at the coming months, possibly still against the Cam. In 2018, Usyk unified the entire cruiserweight division by winning the World Boxing Super Series Cruiserweight Tournament to unite the WBO, the IBF, and the WBA and the WBC world titles. He last fought in November when he knocked out and retired former world champion Tony Bellew. The WBO's decision has some resistance because Dillian Whyte is the top-rated boxer in the weight class, and he wanted the sanctioning bodies to delay the ruling until July 22nd, 2 days after he faces Oscar Rivas in London. Whyte appears to be in a hot pursuit of a mandatory shot against WBC champion Deontay Wilder. Whyte has been the WBC top-rated challenger for nearly 600 days, and the WBO argued that Usyk's status as the super champion at cruiserweight has given him enough merit to step over Whyte. You know what? I can agree with that. I like the WBO, and I like how they got this no bullshit. They're not trying to get their belts clogged up, or they're not trying to get their shit tied up, you know what I'm saying, with anybody, so I like that. And I would just like to say a match between Andy Ruiz and Oleksandr Usyk would be stylistically, for me, an interesting fight. That's actually a fight I would want to see. So I'm actually not mad at that at all. I'm actually, I would really like to see that. But, more turns and events in the heavyweight division. Got to do what you got to do to keep this train moving, and people got to get in where they fit in. And I get what they're saying. They say, it's no point of us really putting Dillian Whyte over the situation because he seems to be in a pursuit with the WBC. And you could say that with Eddie Hearn trying to sue the WBC because, he's been mandatory for, 600 days. And by their own, they're not following their own rules. So when it comes to them, they're looking like, since you're in a pursuit of that, and since Oleksandr Usyk is a super champion, which in our opinion puts him over you as far as a shot, I would have to agree with them in that lane, and I have no problem with that. I really don't. I've been interested to see what Oleksandr Usyk is going to do in the heavyweight division, so I very much want to see, once he enters in on the scene, how everything plays out. At this time, the heavyweight division is a toss-up. Everything is a toss-up at this point. Anthony Joshua's loss set off a chain of events that's still interesting. It's not what we planned, but this is beginning to be interesting because it could fall anywhere. Anybody could be the champ, meaning there's nobody in the heavyweight division that you could say definitely it's supposed to be this and supposed to be that and we'll do this and we'll do that. And I understand it's a heavyweight division. One punch can change directions, but at least back in the day, you at least knew who the elite of the elite was. All these boxers, heavyweight boxers for the most part, there's not big gaps in skill as much. There are gaps, but they're not as big as they was, back in the day when you could separate who was an elite heavyweight from who wasn't an elite heavyweight. These guys are all running neck and neck to me, in my opinion, because everybody is beatable and everybody has shown flaws and everybody has shown vulnerability. I would say at this point, the most well put together heavyweight that I can look at right now, and I can't speak on Oleksandr Usyk because he's not in it. I would have to say that would be Tyson Fury. He has the best skill set at this point. He doesn't have a lot of power, but he appears to be able to take a punch. So with this crop of heavyweights, a guy like Tyson Fury, somebody who has his skill set and can take a punch, I would say he is the most valuable right now. Because what can I say about the rest? Deontay Wilder, heavy hitter, no skills, can get wobbled, you know what I'm saying, and can get stopped. That's been proven time and time again, with a guy who have trained and with a guy who's basically medically wasn't up to par. So, anybody can take him out. They just got to be able to get past that right hand. Anthony Joshua, skills, regardless of what people say, I don't think Anthony Joshua's chinny at all because you couldn't get to where he got by being chinny. But he has flaws. He has stamina issues. He still has stamina issues. And, he needs to get that together and he needs to, he needs to get back to the amateur days and he needs to reapply that jab and move light on his feet, man. One of the best things a big guy can be is have good reflexes, be fast, and have quick feet. It's one of the best things that you can have in the heavyweight division. That will set you out apart from leagues of people. Oleksandr Usyk, once again, has the skill set, savvy in the ring. His power is not all that. It's fairly decent, but he has flaws too. So everybody got flaws at this point, and that's including Dylan White and, everybody else. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out and who's really going to win because it's a toss-up. And most importantly, it's exciting to see what response Anthony Joshua is going to have because this whole thing depends on Anthony Joshua. And if he doesn't rise to the occasion, if he can't somewhat pick up where he left off, I'm not going to lie, the heavyweight division will go back into darkness, especially at least with me. I mean, even the loss of Anthony Joshua currently, boxing has took a hit. I mean, you have to be able to tell. Since Anthony Joshua lost, and people got to admit this, but I think only content creators can really speak on this. Since Anthony Joshua lost, if you notice, the traffic for boxing has actually slowed down. I'm a content creator, so I can gauge this stuff and I can pay attention. It slowed down for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I wish I can get a second content creator to speak on this, because when Anthony Joshua lost, you could literally tell on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? You could tell how many casuals was actually tuning in because of Anthony Joshua, because it was a drop off. Some will admit it, some won't. But anyways, that's my thoughts on the shit. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Bruce Van, I'm out. Ruiz's big win was a stumbling block for Usyk, who signed on with promoter Eddie Hearn with the sole goal of facing Joshua for the undefeated crown. Usyk was scheduled to make his heavyweight debut last month against Carlos Takam. However,